Welcome to Sports Central. We have plenty on this week's show. Let's take a look. Let's start with football.
The home team names just the one change to the one that went to the northeast and came away with a very good point indeed at Gateshead, who themselves are flying at the top of the league. In comes Carl Noon for James Holden. Ever-present James Coates in goal. Hasn't missed a game all season. Number 10, Tom Field, is once of Droylsden. Alan Griffiths scored in the 2-1 win at the Bloods on Boxing Day. Well, Dave Pace was obviously disappointed with his team that went to Fleetwood and lost. Another defeat tonight may cost them that chance of a place in the top 5. He makes 6 changes to the team that lost 2-1 at Highbury Stadium. In comes Ruffer, Holford and Brownhill at the back. Steve Pickford, Jake Spate and Kevin Townsend also come in. Townsend leading scorer with just 5 goals this term. Matt Tipton is not even in the squad. So down for Townsend, Spate. Gray wants it, Spate goes for goal himself and he's very nearly in the back of the net. Made the space his, got hold of it all right. Just the wrong side of the post. And Jake Spate, number 10. Sean Newton has come across from the left-hand side to whip this in. Himself a couple of goals this season, Sean Newton. It's a pretty decent cross. They want handball, and they're going to get it as well at Droylsden. The arms went up. I don't know who it could be. I think it is Matty Burke, number 8, who's suggesting that it may have hit his side. Did seem to braze the arm of somebody. Sean Newton makes it 1-0 to the visitors, and what a fine penalty it was. You don't save those. It was Furlong here. Touch wasn't great. Looks to get it in from a tight angle in it. And it comes. Good header. It's 2-0 to Droylsden. And it's Holford who got his head to the ball. Coates couldn't do enough in the goal. Swung in from Townsend. And it was a very good header indeed to take it past the keeper, who got a hand to it. Wait to see how many minutes are going to be added on at the end of this first half. A minute or so to go of normal time. Here's Gray. Do wonders for Dave Pace if they were to get another one here, Droylsden. Good try, brilliant goal, wonderful goal, and they have got the third. A moment of brilliance right at the end of this first half. Well, Tony Gray got hold of it and thought, why not? Coates was out of his goal and he just coasted over him into the top corner. Absolutely brilliant. And Droylsden have the third goal. Field. Good ball through, real chance. It's in the back of the net, but the flag is up. It went up straight away by Mr. Corns on the far side. It goes up towards Spate. Gets hit down on the chest, and then the instant control to bring it down. He seems to be enjoying himself tonight, Jake Spate. Noon. Holford across, and Holford conceding the free kick. He cannot believe the decision made by Mr. Dunn. And Holden again with the chance to cause some problems with the free kick. Good try! Oh, what a strike that is from Field. They've got one back. Tom Field scores against his old club. What a strike! Caught hold of it perfectly. Beat Mawson. But anything is possible for Droylsden as Townsend looks to get in here, possibly to make it 4. He looks to get on the turn. Townsend, he does get a goal. And the 3-goal lead is restored, causing all sorts of problems. Never gave up. The Kevin Townsend shrugging off his defender and somehow getting it past Coates. And could that be the match winner? Morris. Flag stays down. And what a chance that was for Lamb, and how's he not taken it? He kept his flag down. And Lamb should have scored, and there should have been 5 for Droylsden.
It was a good performance. It was one of them, obviously. I mean, we've had a few good ones and just been unlucky. But I just thought the work rate was a little bit better up front. Obviously, it's attacking formation away from home, and nobody wants to see like 10 men behind the ball. So we're coming here to get goals. Obviously, I've signed a new striker, and obviously he'll add to the strike force already here, and hopefully we can keep it going.
And next, we catch up with a Sale Sharks player, Christian Ormsby.
Christian, you've got away very lightly. You've got it easy in front of the fire. We feel sorry for you because you're injured.
Yep, thanks.
Tell us about the injury, because I've spoken to you quite a bit over this season about it.
Yeah.
It happened a few months ago now, but it's got worse, hasn't it?
Yeah, initially it was just had a cartilage problem in my right knee, and it just kind of progressively sort of got worse. I played on it for 4 or 5 weeks, and eventually I had it fixed up, had an operation about 3 months ago, and just never really healed. So I've had another one, and I've got probably another sort of 2.5 months sort of on the sideline to get it right.
How frustrating has it been though? Because obviously you arrived, there was so much talk about you coming. You know, even the guys that maybe hadn't heard of you, you'd impressed them so much, and then to slip out of the picture, and it must be so frustrating for you every day in the gym, seeing people take your place, and how annoying is it?
It's been a frustrating time. I'd had a couple of shoulder injuries before I came here as well, so I knew what it was like to kind of be on the sideline, but for such a long stretch, which is going to end up being 6 months, it was frustrating. I was, extremely excited to come here and be a part of it, and I got myself kind of in good shape when I got here. So I was looking forward to it. I felt like I wanted to come over and prove something when I came here. So for it to happen, and it happened in one of the second or third game I played. So it was sort of played on it for a few games, and it just kind of got worse. And so when it's detrimental to your performance, you want to get it right, and hopefully once it comes right, then I'll be back and playing for Sale.
When you first came over then for Churchill Cup, what were your memories of that? Because you told me you weren't over here for long. It was a few weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like a short period. It was like 14 days or something like that. So it wasn't a lot of time to sort of get used to the culture of what it was like over here. And we didn't come to Manchester, but it was good. I mean, the guys, as anyone on tour, on rugby tours or whatever kind of tours, enjoys getting out there and meeting, the locals and seeing what it's like. And we had good times over here, and so I had fond memories of what it was like in England. So when I had the option to come back here, it was a pretty easy decision.
Luke McAllister, I'm taking it being a Kiwi, and you know him from back there. Has he been a help to help you settle in? Yeah,
I mean, we've got obviously a number of overseas guys, so everyone sort of it's a cultural adjustment, and it's probably good being in a multicultural sort of a team that there's different cultures that people have to work through, and but I mean, it's always good having a guy that you've spent a bit of time with before and got a bit of rapport with, so which is good.
Taking you back to New Zealand, and it's strange because to look at you, I wouldn't, without being offensive, you don't look like a 28-year-old lad. You're still so young in terms of rugby age.
Yeah.
You started out at counties. Early memories from that, and how you got into that from school?
Well, I pretty much straight from school. I was lucky enough to pretty much be straight from school, and it was sort of like it was a side that I'd looked up to or grown up in that area. So it was a good side to play for because it was one of the sides you look up to, and so that was good. And I was sort of 20, so it was an exciting time for a 20-year-old, and played there for a few years, and really enjoyed it. We had some really good quality guys that had been there before, guys like Jonah and Joeli Vindiri, who were world-class guys, and just to kind of be around those sort of guys for a young guy was pretty massive.
Did you know Kingsley's dad was Jonah's agent?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, nice little connection.
I did. Yeah, I do. He's actually my manager as well.
Is he?
So,
so yeah, that's how it works, is it?
Yeah, keep it in the family, eh?
Yeah, why not?
That's all for part 1. See you after the break. Welcome back. Later on in the show, we go to the Manchester Velodrome for a sport of a different kind. But first, we hear more from Christian.
So, I know you're a big sporting person, a big sporting man, as it were. It wasn't just rugby, was it? Because you were pretty good at cricket. You were pretty good at swimming, shot put. Anything you weren't good at?
Well, I probably wasn't great at any of those things, you know what I mean?
The things I've looked up at you, 17 years old, you'd won swimming championships, you'd won cricket trophies at that age.
Yeah, it was just kind of a bit of a like a sort of a master of
You're supposed to blow your own trumpet.
master of nothing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
good at everything, but not quite brilliant at anything. So I was touch and go at a few times, sort of where I wanted to go with like rugby or perhaps cricket or something like that.
So with all those options, everything that you did, what would you have been if it wasn't rugby? If it doesn't have to be sport. Did you ever have a dream when you were a kid of I want to do this, I want to do that?
Yeah, when I was a child, I really wanted to be a marine biologist.
Yeah.
But then probably once I got to school and realised that my grades weren't good enough, it was probably a pipe dream. But I always liked. When I lived back in New Zealand, I grew up sort of probably about 200 metres from a beach, and there was always we'd sort of go down to the beach and look for crabs and throw crabs at girls, and as you do in your little tyke, and
Yeah.
So yeah, it was,
I never did that. That's brilliant.
it was
That's
always
a nice story.
exciting. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Marine biology. I can see you as actually in a white coat and a
Yeah.
snorkel.
it's actually what my brother's doing now. So he took the dream off me.
And the Hurricanes and the Chiefs, Super 14s. How different is that Super 14? And tell me about your memories from that day, because you were only sort of early 20s playing for the Hurricanes and the Chiefs, which are two massive teams, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a bit different. Like Wellington was quite a rugby town. Like, sort of got right behind it, and could be playing the bottom side, and you'd still get a packed stadium, 40,000 people there, and it was you see what it's like on the sevens, just the kind of atmosphere that's created there, and it's just like a party sort of atmosphere, and so that was massive. I had 3 years in Wellington, and thoroughly enjoyed it. It was great city, and I'd be happy to live there again.
Looking at you, I wouldn't say that you had any Maori in you at all, but I'd
Yeah.
be wrong.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
A little bit.
you've played for the Maoris, so you have to have. There's a certain rule that it has to go back a certain amount of generations.
Yeah, as long as you can trace your lineage back somewhere, you can play for the Māoris. And New Zealand's a fresh country, so it's not. You don't have to trace it too far back, but as long as you can find some connection there, then. But yeah, I've been lucky enough to play for the Māoris on a number of times and played in some really good places. Obviously here and the States, and it's always good touring. It's a different. Like Māoris are kind of a little bit. I wouldn't say. Hoha, which is lazy, but it's more of a relaxed sort of atmosphere, so it's different from playing in intense environments like the Sharks or similar environments back home. So it's nice and relaxed, and you probably the guys that play for it enjoy it because you probably play your best rugby in those kind of environments.
This is me showing my ignorance. We were going to get you to do the haka, but obviously in your state we don't want to make anything worse. But can you do that? Can you do it? Do they do it for the Maoris as well?
Yeah, Māoris do a different haka.
Yeah.
They do a kamati, obviously, for the All Blacks. The Māoris have got their own haka that they come up with. So
I've always wondered whenever I watched that as a kid. I remember sort of the Underwood brothers doing it, and they just didn't look scary at all to the New Zealanders. And even Sean Fitzpatrick was scary, which was strange. But do you practice it? Did they have a time where they all sit together and have like a little dance session where they practice it?
Yeah, we used to from the Māoris, and I know the All Blacks are the same with their new hakas. They put a real intensity into it, and we'd practice it sometimes twice a day, for hours at a time just to get it right. And especially some of the more unco guys like myself will probably needed a bit more work than other guys. But it's a good time.
I know you've done a bit of journalist work. You collect maybe you don't know about this, the Franklin County News. Tell me about that. You had your own column.
Oh right, yeah. It was just a small paper sort of back home that just kind of did a little bit of a thing for them, like an Inside the Chiefs. But at the time, like I'd had, we'd sort of started up and it was going well all pre-season. Then I'd injured my shoulders, so it wasn't as good as they would have liked it. But
And what was it called, Christian?
what was it called?
Come on, what's your nickname?
Oh yeah, that's right. It was called Whispers in the Chiefs or something like that.
Now, you're going to have to explain this. When I was sat down having something to eat with Roy Lamont, I was eating Roy Lamont's food the other day,
Yeah.
and then you came in and he said, "Whispers," and that was the first time I had heard it. So where does that come from?
I got it when I was young, like when I first started playing rugby, sort of 20, and being around older guys and just sort of too scared to say anything. If they sort of asked me anything, I was sort of shy my head away and sort of be pretty quiet, and it was just kind of stuck. And it's Luke was probably the only person in Sale that kind of knew the nickname.
So he's carried it on. He's brought it forward.
Yeah, and I sort of thought I'd be able to shake it once I got here, but and it just kind of, and it sort of almost got to the point where people should have shouted at me, and that's kind of just.
So now everyone at Sale's calling you Whispers.
Everybody, yeah.
Listen, because your name's Whispers, we brought you a whisper.
Oh, nice.
There you go. Enjoy that later.
Oh, thank you.
You've got a bit of time to enjoy some chocolate now. You've got some time off.
We've got Easter coming up.
The season so far, obviously frustrating for you, partly from the beginning of the season, but what have you made of it in general, looking at it? Because I guess you've been a fan. I guess you've been watching from the stands. It gives you a different perspective.
Yeah. Oh, it's been good. Like, I think we probably, as a team, probably didn't play as well Heineken Cup and EDF Cup as we would have liked. And that's disappointing not to be able to have that side of your season, which is obviously was a big push for us this year. But it gives us, I guess, one focus that we can focus on. Focus on the Guinness Premiership and put all our sort of efforts or eggs in one basket. I really think things are going well for us, and I really think we've got a good push to have a good season and finish it well. Your plans for the rest of the season, of course, you've got to get that knee right, because it's important that you don't come back and it messes up again, isn't it? That's crucial. Yeah, absolutely. Just work with physios, hard on my rehab, and it's a similar injury to one that Sean Cox had, and he was out for sort of 11-12 weeks. So we're looking for like a similar time frame to that, and so hopefully they've obviously been through it before with him, so gone down sort of a warm path, so hopefully it works out. But you will be here next season. You are staying. That's what people want to know. Absolutely. Like I've only played a handful of games thus far, and I'm pretty keen, if it's not this season, then next season, to obviously make up for lost time. And we've got the best of Christian Ormsby to see. I'd like to think so. I'd like to think the few games that I played here, I was kind of carrying small injuries, and I feel like I've got more to give. From my career perspective anyway, but certainly for Sale as well.
Once again, the English Indoor Rowing Championships were held in Manchester, and Sports Central was there to catch all the action.
Today's the English Indoor Rowing Championships. It's an annual event whereby we invite anybody to come and compete at the English Indoors. You don't necessarily have to be living within England. We've had people flying in from Malta, Dublin, wherever. And the races happen in category order, from juniors at 10 years old is the youngest. Our eldest category is 70 plus, which we've had a 77-year-old racing today. And to go up in age bracket, as they get into senior categories other than the juniors, they also break down into weights, so they can have heavyweight or lightweight. We offer 2,000 metre races for the adults and 500 metre races, and the juniors do a set time rather than the distance, and it's how many metres they accumulate in that minute, or those 3 minutes. The Hollingworth Lake Rowing Club, we're a local club in Rochdale, and for years we were dogged by the weather for the outdoor regatta on the water. So we decided to take an event indoors, and we were asked to organise something for club members to join in indoors. Hence we used the rowing machines at an indoor event. It grew from there, so we ended up with more and more entries, took it to the local high school because we were getting too big for the club. And there it just took off even more so we've now come to a bigger venue, which is the Velodrome in Manchester. There are a series of events. There's English, Scottish, Welsh, British Indoor Rowing Championships held throughout the year. As we got bigger, Concept 2, who are the main manufacturers for rowing machines, very kindly offered to support and back the event. Without them it won't be possible. So all 60 race machines you see here today are on loan from them, and an awful lot of technical support and behind the scenes support from Concept. So we've had 672 entries today, and everyone's having a great time so far. A bit noisy, a bit bedlam. Behind me you'll see there's a team race going on. Quite often people will have a go at the indoor rowing on the rowing machines in their local gyms and fitness clubs, some of which will stay there and that's where they want to be. Others will say, oh, we'll have a go on the water. For example, there are 70 children here today from Stoke Rowing Association. They predominantly started in school, after school clubs as an indoor rowing club, and then they will progress onto the water at Trenton Boat Club. It's different altogether on the water. The elements affect it, the weather, the balance. Obviously on the machine they're going hell for leather as fast as they can to beat the world record or get a personal best time, of which we've had a few today. A lot of PBs today and a couple of records as well, which is nice to see. And the water's a lot more finesse perhaps in the balance of the boat and the timing of the crew. But it is a good training tool to take onto the water. Other than that, it's just a good competition to run because as you can see everyone loves it.
Indoor rowing's fast and furious, but you have to make sure you've got the right technique. We start with the finish position. Lean back slightly, legs flat, handle drawn to the body. Then you move into the slide. Extend arms and slide forward until the knees come into the chest. This puts you into the position for the drive. Legs push down and the body levers back. Draw the handle to the body and you enter the finish position, ready to go again. With good technique comes fast times, as proven by the following record breakers. For the lightweight women category, America's Lisa Schlenker holds a time of 6 minutes 56.7 seconds. For the lightweight men's category, Italian Elia Luini holds a time of 6 minutes 2.6 seconds. In the heavyweight women, French Sophie Balmeri clocked 6 minutes 28.4 seconds. The heavyweight category is led by German legend Matthias Sikorski. He holds a record time of 5 minutes 37 seconds.
I used to be a rugby player until about 4 or 5 years ago, and I had to retire with back problems. Since then I was missing my sport, doing a lot of training for no particular reason, and got talking to a friend who invited me down to the rowing club, and took it from there. Started rowing in the boats and started training on the ergo machine. There was a couple of ergo competitors down at the rowing club in Durham, and I teamed up with them and started training for ergo contests. My first event was the British Indoor Rowing Championships, where I entered my age category 30-35s, which I won, which was great. And this is my second Ergo Championship. I wanted to enter the open category to up the level of competition, and entered here today, and it went pretty well. I feel pretty exhausted now. It was a really tough piece for me. I've been suffering with a bit of illness during the week. I've had a bit of upset stomach and a few chest problems, so I was really nervous about whether I could pull out my A game today, but really happy it wasn't too bad in the end. My true ambition in rowing is to get into a competitive boat and row on the water. I know the ergo is a very important part of the rowing training regime, so I like to keep putting in PBs and good times, just really try and keep the interest of the coaches, and hoping that some of them will invest the time in me to get me performing in the boats on the water. So with the upcoming regatta season, I want to try and get a place in Durham Amateur Rowing Club Senior 8, and hopefully have a successful season on the water.
A couple of years ago we had Steve Redgrave, and he was doing a piece for some lads in Liverpool, and what the idea was that we'd take people off the street, 18 to 24, give them an opportunity to be coached and trained in the art of the rowing machine, and then ultimately on the water, and used the Indoor Championships here in Manchester to select the crew and whittle down the 24 athletes down to 8 who would sit in a boat and ultimately race at Henley. They got through a number of regattas prior to going to Henley, but they didn't win Henley. But then again, they were taking a big chunk on when they were trained up in just such a short period of time. So it's a good incentive to bring people into the sport and see what just could be achieved.
That's all for Sports Central, but you can catch me the same time, same place next week.